Okay, it is that time again. We sit down with Kathy D. Carter, KathyDCarter.com, the Soulfinder. And Kathy, I just signed up to get your newsletter.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you did.
It's about time.
I am an Aries, and I don't like to be stuck in doing something routine and regular, but I'm proud of myself. I have been doing a weekly newsletter for a few weeks now. And in it, we started up the meetup also. So I've got the Living Your Soul's Purpose meetup started up, and we have a new guest now, one of my clients that I have helped her develop her gift, and she is a spot-on medium. And last night, she amazed the group because she actually did the readings and took notes before she came in. And I had told her that she could do that because you can tap into the people that's going to be there and ask any spirits that have messages for any of those people to give them to her. And she did that, and she came in with her little notes. And she was spot on.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. She was spot on. Everyone was so amazed. And, of course, it brought tears to some of them with the messages and stuff and her just being so spot on. So we really look forward to having her at the next meetups. And we're probably, no guarantee, but we're probably going to alternate every other week. And one week it will be a Friday night, and the other time it's going to be on a Sunday afternoon. So we can try to hit everyone. Now, the other thing is we're also making this available by Zoom. So if you want to Zoom in, you can watch it that way.
Okay, let's go to you trained her or helped her?
Yes, develop her gift. Uh-huh.
Okay. First of all, not everyone can do that, right?
I don't believe so. There's a lot of people that will say, yes, they can. I don't believe so until more of the population gets to higher frequencies that I would maybe then say everybody could. But I believe everyone comes in with their own treasure chest of gifts, and that is not something that just everyone can do. This is in her treasure chest. This is something that comes very natural to her. And I had to help her. Well, I didn't have to, but I mean, we were working together and that came up in conversation and we worked on it, and she's not scared of it. She's embracing it and using it. Okay,
I'm going to guess that that's probably one of the big obstacles when you're training or developing is to get them not to be scared.
Yes, and especially with mediumship, because you're dealing with the other side, which is spirits, and people are scared of that.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yes.
And just like I equate it to, I hate to say real life, but in a lot of other aspects of life, our fear keeps us down.
Yes.
And so it's just like that with you when you're developing the medium. The other question, this may be another podcast episode, what you just said, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
You said, until we get to the point where we're evolved.
Uh-huh. Because I believe that the higher your vibrational frequency, the more tuned in to such as telepathy. Now, I do believe everyone has possibly the ability for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think people know that until they have healed to a certain level. That's what I believe today. I could change that.
I love that.
I could change that.
In talking about evolving, you and I have talked about how people evolve.
Right.
Does society evolve?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Oh, perfect point.
Boom.
Oh, I
Look
love
at me
that.
go.
I
Way
love
to go,
that.
me.
So you have to look at this as, okay, so we're in the universe, right? Huge, big universe, lots of planets, blah, blah, blah. And we're people here on the planet Earth. Well, there's that group. then you can come in and look at the group of the globe of Earth and all the people on it. That's a unity soul in itself. Then you can come to the individual people. Well, first you can go to the states, you can come to the cities, you can come on down to the families, and then you come to the individual soul. So an individual soul is also a universe. I love this when I saw it was one of, they had put up one of Dolores Cannon's clips, and she said, you are the creator of your universe, and your universe is your 40 plus trillion cells that's in your body. And think of every one of those cells as a world to itself. And you're the source of those worlds. So you put yourself like you would think of the creator, whoever that may be for you, the creator source of the universe, but you're the creator source of this body. And each one of the cells is an individual unit planet, if you want to look at it that way. And you're in charge of them. And if you don't love them, what do you think they're going to do?
Revolt?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why we have to find ways to get back to loving ourselves, because that's what we've ran away from.
And that can be really hard for people.
Yes, it is.
To love themselves.
It is. It's very hard, and it was one of the questions at our meetup last night. And by the way, the meetups are available by Zoom. We had one girl Zoom in, so we can get people from all over the world. And you just have to look at yourself differently, because we've been taught to dislike ourselves. And that's what keeps us in low frequency.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a natural thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Because you've been taught it from your environment.
We've had this discussion before, but just a refresher on the frequency levels. When we're born, and this can be one of those, I can already hear the first part of the answer. Frito, this is what I believe now.
Uh-huh.
Are we born a certain frequency? And
that's a really good question, because honestly, I haven't given that one a lot of thought. But what came through, I was asked it just recently. And yes, we are born a certain frequency, because let's take, for example, a child that comes out from a mother that has had severe addictions, and she had them through the pregnancy. She was using drugs, and she was under a whole lot of stress. Maybe she was homeless part of the time, and maybe she didn't know much about having a baby, so she was scared. So that young one is going to come out as a lower frequency baby, and it's going to have the indoctrination already to be possibly like a fighter. You know, I'm going to have to struggle through this life. I've got to fight my way through, because that's what it gathered through the pregnancy. And then we have the baby that was in a womb that they knew to play music, they knew to stay calm, they were already at a higher frequency. They had already evolved their soul, and they knew how to eat nutritious. They cared about how they took care of the baby. And yes, it makes a difference, and it does determine the frequency, I think, today.
And is it hereditary at all? You just mentioned the parents that knew to play the music. How about just natural? If my parents are at higher frequencies, does that necessarily mean anything to me as their child?
Well, yes, because you're going to be in a different environment.
Okay, so your environment plays.
Your environment. So if you took a child and you put them in the nurturing environment from 0 to 7 when everything is determined in their brain and they place their unconscious belief system and they've incorporated how to survive in this world and how to act in this world. If you put them in the right environment, oh my God, we could change this world so fast. It would be just love. Mm-hmm. It would be everybody taking care of everybody. It'd be what we were striving for. But it's the environment that we have to overcome.
So that means we're never going to get there.
I don't know. I can't say never, but
see, I kind of think that it's by design that we're never going to get there.
Well, that could very well be. I'm not saying no to that either, because I've said this before. I feel like a puppet.
This is so interesting. And I think, and you can tell me if it applies to the spiritual world. For example, we're always going to have poor people.
It seems that way, yes.
Well, part of it is that no matter how much money there is out there, there's going to be people who know how to get the money, and there's going to be people that don't know how to spend the money. And that's the way, that's just nature.
Well, yes, you could look at it that way.
And let's not go with money, let's go with resources, food.
Yeah. There's people that have food, people that don't have enough.
I'm kind of contradicting myself because in business, it always bothers me that some people think in order to have a winner, you have to have a loser.
Right.
And I don't believe that.
I don't either.
In a lot of cases.
I don't like that.
But I do believe in society that there's always going to be those who have and those who have not. And to me, that's nature. That's the animal kingdom. It's not just people.
Yeah, it's the opposites on the planet. You got to have the opposites in order to evolve a soul and grow.
And this is kind of a tangent, but you also have to have, I think we talked about this in one of the previous episodes, in order to have joy, you have to have pain.
Right, right.
Because if you didn't have any pain, you wouldn't really know what joy was. Or,
right.
So.
And I think using my vibrational scale that I always refer to because I have nothing else that people can relate to, but if the people in the sandbox that start out are the lower frequencies, I think that I could draw up a list that showed, as you started evolving your soul, the different types of things that would be happening in your life. Mm-hmm. And that would be coming out, like that fighter child we talked about, would be coming out of that whenever they found they could change things. And they might become the most loving, most balanced, most light angel on the earth.
Can you be low frequency and successful?
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? The criminals all do it.
Actually, that's a very good answer. But where I was going was that just because you're low frequency doesn't mean, well, maybe you're going to say otherwise, doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Oh, no. It never means you're a bad person because you're low frequency. All that I mean when I say low frequency is an unevolved soul.
Yes.
And some people would call it that, but I don't, because we all have to go through all the stages. We all have to evolve our soul. So we have to have compassion for the ones just beginning as much as we do for the ones that's already on their way.
Okay, you talked about helping the medium develop. How far is the sky the limit? Meaning, are there certain people that you can only take so far that aren't going to, that just can't achieve the level that you're talking about? They're not ready for it yet.
Well,
no
yeah,
matter how much development you try and do.
Yeah, it's always the person's choice. They're the ones that do the healing. Okay. I just guide them.
Okay.
I just guide them. I give them different options. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I am there to say, I may be there to say, now this is your next steps, but I am not there. I am there to widen their mind thinking, because they may be focused on one thing when they need to be thinking about other things and other possibilities. And they may be narrowed in thinking they don't have any other possibilities.
Okay, how does a person's life change that you are able to develop those tools and talents?
Well, you should have seen how happy she was. It was so heartwarming to see her last night, because that was the first time that she had had what you would call validation for her gift. And it was spot on. I mean, there was no question. I mean, she was exact. And I knew this. I knew she had this ability. And I had invited her to the meetup. I talked her into doing it because we've worked on this for a while now. And her fear is what has kept her from being able to get to this point. And there's still a lot of fear, but she's working through it very well.
Okay, and the word fear. Let's do fear in another episode.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Let's do fear in the next episode. KathyDCarter.com is where you want to go to find out all about Kathy. I say this on probably every other episode, that when I met Kathy, I was very skeptical of what she does. But once you get to know her and talk to her, even if you're the big skeptic like I am, Kathy's solid. And I always look forward to these episodes. So thank you so much, and look forward to the next episode about fear.